All right, hey everybody. We're a little bit early, about 8 minutes. Just wanted to make sure that I have my new technology up and running. So let's make sure we do. I'm looking for my messages, and it looks like we've got all three channels up and running and ready to go. Jeff, New York City. Hey, Eric from Periscope. Outstanding. We do. I'm already seeing super hearts. You guys. Oh, come on. You know that one, right? I love each and every one of you. So anyway, I wanted to go up a few minutes early just to, like I said, make sure that my technology is running because for the very first time, this high-tech redneck spent 2 days trying to figure it out. Finally, I got there. Thanks to a great team at Restream.io, by the way. Tremendous team of people, great customer service. They even helped me get up to speed in the world of technology and streaming. And believe me when I tell you, that was a monumental task on their part, and they had tremendous patience. So do me a favor. I know you guys are already a ton of questions, and I appreciate it. I'm seeing questions from Facebook. Pete Pendergrass, how are you, buddy? Appreciate you being here. Kyle from Wisconsin, Facebook. Kyle Wegner, glad you were here, my friend. Gregory Picia, shout out. Hey, Greg! What's happening? Facebook here, Periscope here. All my Twitter family is here. That's where this started. This started on Twitter and Periscope TV. But guys, I'm going to get into the Q&A here in about 6 minutes because we went up early. I just wanted to make sure I didn't let anybody down. Brazilian honey, did I get up to 10K yet? No, I'm not there yet. I'm at 9,604. So we've got 396 new followers to go at Periscope TV. But because of all your help, I'm sure we're going to get there pretty quick. Again, starting a little bit early, so hold off on your questions just a little bit because I don't want you to have to keep asking questions over and over and over again before I can get to them. So I've got a little bit of business to take care of before we get started. I'm going to hold off on that for another 5 minutes. Oh, Kig, Super Heart. Yeah, we got plenty of time for those. Plenty of time for Super Hearts. But a couple things I wanted to talk about. One is how much I enjoy being here. And I know I've said that a couple times, but I am not kidding you. Today, when I finally got synced up so that I can broadcast not only to my Periscope TV family and my Twitter family, which are near and dear to my heart, I was also able to set this broadcast up so that I'm simultaneously in real time going live to Facebook Live and to YouTube. Now, I'm going to tell you why that's important, especially for YouTube, because in the weeks to come, just a few weeks, not a lot of weeks, we're going to be making some big announcements, and we're going to have some very special offerings to not only my family here on Twitter and Facebook, because you guys are near and dear to my heart. This is where it all started for me. I really was kind of slow getting into Facebook and opening it up. You know, I've had it from my family. Oh, Get the Tables podcast. Come on now. Thank you for the love. But Twitter's really where I've stayed in touch with the fan base and my followers. But coming up in a couple weeks, we're going to have some very special offerings on YouTube. So if you're not following on YouTube yet, if you're not following me on YouTube, I encourage you to do so because we're going to have a lot of really cool stuff. Not just merchandise. We're going to have some of that too. But there's going to be some great content available to you on YouTube, as well as a brand new platform that will be announced very, very shortly. And I'm going to hold off. I'm going to build some anticipation for that because anticipation is the key to everything. Think about it. When you were a little kid, you looked forward to your first day of school. Well, maybe you did. I don't think I did. But as you were getting a little bit older, you look forward to your birthday. You look forward to Christmas. You look forward to the holidays. You look forward to Halloween. And then as you got older, you look forward to getting your first driver's license, right? And being able to drive. And then you look forward to graduating from high school. And then you look forward to your first intimate experience. Let's put it that way, right? Come on. Just about everybody did, right? And then you look forward to, turning 21 so you could go out with your friends and, legally not have to use a fake ID and get cocktails and party. So throughout your entire life, you've been conditioned to have anticipation, to look forward to something. And those of you that have followed me for a while and read my book, you know that in the formula that I love for professional wrestling, I believe you have to have story, you have to have anticipation, you have to have surprise, you have to have reality, and within the wrestling industry at least, you have to have action. So that's why I'm going to hold off and build a little anticipation for our YouTube announcement and for our new platform announcement, because it's going to be pretty damn cool. You're going to dig it. Promise you. All right. 2 minutes away. I'm going to take a couple questions. Super Hearts. I love those Super Hearts. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Oh, GW Sound, AV in Virginia. Thank you, man. You're one of my most consistent followers, and I do appreciate that. And I know I owe you a phone call. I promise I'm going to get to it. Tomorrow morning, I have to head to Billings, Montana, because I live here in Cody, Wyoming. Little airport in this town, only one flight a day, and it's a pain in the ass. So I'm going to drive up to Billings tomorrow after I take care of some business here, and then jump on a plane, and I'm flying to flying to Augusta, Georgia, because Saturday I'm going to be in Augusta, Georgia for Legends of Wrestling. My good buddy Brian Knobs putting on a great show there. Jimmy Hart's going to be there. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's going to be there. Road Warrior Animal's going to be there. It's going to be great. Mick Foley's going to be there, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I may even do a broadcast, a Periscope broadcast from the event in Augusta, Georgia on the 24th. So if you're not doing anything Saturday, all right. Hey, Rob, MC UK in Liverpool. Outstanding. Great to have you with us, man. But, yeah, where was I? All right, for 5:59, it's almost showtime. Almost showtime. Hey, Tony from Cleveland. How you doing, man? Glad you're here. 300 plus in the house on Periscope. That's pretty good, right? I feel like it's good. Hey, all of you here on Periscope, are you following me? It's cool to watch, but you got to follow. And that way, by the way, when I just get a wild hair, because I do have a wild hair at least once a week, and I just go live without any promotion. I don't even know what I'm going to be talking about or what I'm going to be doing when I do it. But I go live once a week, my wild hair show, and you won't even know about it if you don't follow me. Then you get a notification. So you Facebook fans who are following, we got a lot of Facebook fans here, man. This is awesome. You Facebook fans, go over to Periscope TV. You can get there on Twitter. If you've got Twitter, it's really easy to find. Just go to @Periscope TV and follow E. Bischoff. All right, here we go. It's 6 o'clock, straight up 6 o'clock, and here we go. Easy does it live. We are going worldwide on YouTube. We are going worldwide on Periscope TV/Twitter, and we are going live on Facebook Live all over the planet. All right, take care of business here. Slow down on the questions. I can't get to them all. You know what this is. Those of you that have been following me for a little while, that's right. Let's hold it up so you can see it. Guayaki Yerba Mate. That's what this show is powered by. I've been drinking this tea all day long, and I am fired up. I am ready to go. This stuff is healthy. It's good for you. It's the best caffeine buzz going because it's a real subtle buzz that lasts all day long. You don't get that jittery feeling. You don't crash like when you pound too much coffee, because I've been known to do that. And for those of you, anybody here on the keto diet? Anybody here? Hit me with a message if you're on the keto diet. It is rocket fuel to blissed off. Anybody here? Keto, anybody? All right, now, no meditation tonight. We're going to do that another night. All right, for those of you that are on the keto diet, you may have heard reference to a Bulletproof Coffee. Now, Bulletproof Coffee is outstanding, and I have that every morning. I have at least one. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's regular coffee with a tablespoon of coconut oil and a tablespoon of grass-fed butter. Believe it or not. You throw it in a blender, you blend it up, and it is, number one, delicious, and number two, it just gives you a jolt like you've never had, because the coconut oil and the grass-fed butter are essentially nutritional fats that your brain really utilizes very, very quickly. It's a much better food for your brain, if you will, than carbohydrates or glucose or any of the other stuff that you normally eat during the day. So I'm not going to get into that. However, I do love my yerba mate tea. And what I do, now this is mine. You've heard of Bulletproof Coffee? Well, I've got tactical tea. So I use that same formula, only I put it in my tea about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I fly all day, flying. All right, at the end of the show, we are also going to announce the winner, not just one, but 2 winners of this bad boy right here. You can see my signature at the bottom. My autograph. It's coming your way. 2 winners. I'll announce them at the bottom of the show. It's my way of making you stick with me. All right. Another thing I wanted to talk about. This is one of the other things I really think is cool about social media and doing a show like this is the people that you meet. Not only on social media, not only from a distance, digitally speaking, but I actually had a chance yesterday to meet a guy that I really connected with for the very first time on Twitter. His name is Andrew Pope. Andrew is a musician out of Nashville, Tennessee, country music, as you might expect. Andrew is in Los Angeles. He's performing. He's touring the country. And as a solo, by the way, by himself, just him and his guitar. Great music. He sent me his CD right around Christmas time, actually. Really kind of a traditional Merle Haggard kind of inspired music. And Andrew was coming through from L.A. on his way to Nebraska to play a series of gigs as he worked his way through. I think he's going to end up in Wisconsin and Milwaukee. Then he's going to be in Waseca, Minnesota. Then he's heading down to St. Louis. And then he's making his way back home to his pug and his girlfriend in Nashville. But anyway, Andrew's a super guy. And when he was coming through Cody, he texted me and said, hey, I'm in town. You want to get together, have a beer, whatever. So I went and I met him in town and invited him out to the house. He spent the night with us last night, put him up. Great, great guy, great musician, and I can't say enough good things about him. So I wanted you to get a chance. There we go. Still getting used to this. Andrew Pope, Stoned on the One. Look for it. Go to iTunes. Look for it. Google it. You'll love it. If you love traditional country music, you'll love it. In fact, Andrew told me a story last night about the time that he met Merle Haggard. Can you imagine that? In fact, when Andrew was out in L.A., he was with Shooter Jennings, Waylon Jennings' son. So, great stories. Andrew, thanks for coming by. All right, that's all the business. Can we get down to it? Let's start asking some questions. Do you talk Richard Edwards Coombs? Do you talk to anybody from NW? Well, of course, man. I've answered that one before here. I stay in touch. Hulk's my best friend. Hulk Hogan and I are tight. I talk to him probably 2 or 3 times a week, whether I need to or not. Still tight with Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. X-Pac, Sean Waltman. We stay real close, digitally speaking. We constantly following each other on Twitter and commenting on each other's posts. You know, X-Pac, Sean Waltman is a huge dog lover. Rescued a dog, Lulu, who I see on the road all of the time. So yeah, I do stay tight with some of the NWO guys. Most of them, as a matter of fact. All right, let's see. Will you come to BCW in Berwyn, Illinois? I don't know. You never know. Follow me here. Stay close. I make all my announcements here first. You know what they say. You heard it here first. How is Buff Bagwell, John Cox? I don't know, John, how Buff is doing. I saw Buff in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I think it was probably 4, 5, 6 months ago, and he seemed to be doing okay. He's Buff Bagwell. Some things never change. And let's see here. What do we got? What do we got? Is the podcast coming back? William from Facebook. Yes, it is. 2, 3 weeks. Watch closely. A lot of good stuff going on. A lot of good stuff going on. And speaking of good stuff, I want to talk about Monday Night Raw last night. Now, I didn't watch the show, all right? I did catch it, portions of it, on TiVo. I certainly saw on social media a lot of the reactions from last night. I watched Daniel Bryan's big return and his promo in the ring, but I don't want to talk too much about it because I wasn't there, number one, and watching clips of it or listening to somebody's recap or reading somebody's opinion of it, it's really not the best way to get a feel for something like that. So, oh, there we go. So rather than me commenting on it, I encourage you, right before my show came up, at 7 o'clock Eastern, my show comes up at 8 o'clock Eastern, Jonathan Coachman at Coach 'em Up has his Periscope TV up. And I encourage you to go back after this show, go back and catch the replay because Jonathan was there. He's sitting right there in a broadcast booth. He knows Daniel Bryan. He could feel the energy in the crowd. He really got a ringside seat in terms of what that felt like and what it meant. So, and I listened to Coach's show because I'm a big fan of Coach 'em Up on Periscope. And I thought he did a great job of covering those moments and Coach's insight into what it means in the big picture for Daniel Bryan and what it means for WrestleMania or what it could mean for WrestleMania, I think was just spot on. So rather than me commenting on it, I encourage you go to Coach 'em Up here on Periscope and follow Coach. Please follow Coach. Hit him with some super hearts so I don't feel bad about making him buy me dinner because I'm an expensive date at a sushi bar. Trust me. All right, let's get back to some questions. Your opinion of the AWA, Matt Lewis from Facebook. You know what, man? Still do to this day, very, very warm feelings about the Gagne family, all of them. Vern, Greg, kids, Vern's wife, Mary. That was Mike Shields, even though he wasn't a part of the Gagne family. Mike Shields was instrumental in getting me an opportunity to come to work for the AWA. And if it wouldn't have been for that opportunity, I wouldn't be sitting here at the world-famous Antique Bar in Cody, Wyoming, and my kids would never have had some of the experiences they had, and my wife and I would have never been around the world a couple times and experienced the things that we did. So I'm forever grateful to the Gagne family for giving me that opportunity, as well as Ted Turner and Vince McMahon. You know, I'm grateful for any opportunity that I get to take care of my family and grow professionally. So that's how I feel about the AWA. All right, okay, this is from Kent Graham on Periscope. Why didn't you let DX come into the building that day? Because, Kent, I didn't even know that they were there until it was too late. I was a little busy. I was doing a live television show. I was in the middle of the ring. And there was panic backstage. And they were trying to communicate with me and trying to tell me what was going on live, not taped. Live. And I was getting some information in my IFB, which is a little hidden device that most people like me had in their ear. And it was kind of chaotic. I couldn't quite figure it out. And by the time I did, the doors of the building had been secured, and any opportunity I would have had to let DX in was gone. However, had I known, I would have loved to have let them in. Can you imagine how good that television would have been? That would have been the best television in television history. Best television in television history. All right. What do we got here? Ken Becker, Facebook. Did you personally get along with and or stay in touch with Sean Morley? You seem to have a good on-screen chemistry. Yeah, you know, I was tight with Sean for a long time. Sean lived in Phoenix when I lived in Phoenix, and we tried to get together a couple times, but it just never worked out. He had young kids. I was busy. I was doing a lot of traveling, but I have a ton of respect for Sean. He's a good guy, and I wish him the best. But yeah, I was good. I was good friends with Sean, and like to think that I still am. All right. We need a couple Periscope questions. Let's see. Hello again from Australia. Tyson Dargan, 17. That's another reminder, Tyson. Thanks for checking in. I want to say hello to all my Australian followers and let you know that every Tuesday night at 6 p.m., get this, Australian Eastern Standard Time, that's right, 6 o'clock p.m. on Tuesdays, Australian Eastern Standard Time, I am going to be doing a very special, dedicated strictly to Australia, Easy Does It Live. That means I have to get up around midnight, suck down a little coffee, get myself fired up, and fire off the show live. And we'll be taking questions live for all of our fans in Australia. And if you happen to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, then you're welcome to join us too. But that's right. A very special Easy Does It Live Australia coming up this Tuesday, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. From Docus75 on Periscope, any fun memories of Miss Elizabeth? You know, Elizabeth was a sweet, sweet person. And she was very close friends with my wife, actually, and socialized a lot with my wife. But I didn't really interact with Liz much outside of work. She was great to work with. She was a professional, and she was very much like the character that you saw on television. The Liz that you saw on television was the same Liz that I knew, and that my wife knew. She's a very sweet, sweet lady, and miss her greatly. We lost her way too soon, that's for sure. All right, from Tyler Schellenberger, Facebook, do you think professional wrestling will ever have another booming period like the 90s during the Monday Night Wars between WWE and WCW with all of the incredible talents today? No, Tyler, I don't. I think there'll be a different kind of boom period because of things like this, because of streaming, because of the ability for small independent promoters to do great things on streaming platforms that are evolving every single day. I know my good friends over at Wrestle Circus produce a show and distribute it on Twitch TV, as is Tommy Dreamer with the House of Hardcore. And there are going to be more and more and more of those kinds of opportunities available so that you'll be able to see such a broader palette of independent wrestling. And I think much like we saw in the probably late 90s, maybe mid 90s, with peer-to-peer music sharing and how that evolved and how all of a sudden independent music grew out of, the different digital platforms that became available. You're going to see more and more wrestling, independent wrestling. And much like independent music grew and independent films grew and independent television producing grew, I think we're going to see a lot more of independent wrestling in the years to come. And I think that's going to become its own kind of boom period, but not like the head-to-head version of the Monday Night War version of WCW and WWE, because the world has changed. And I don't think we're going to see a return to the type of situation, the environment from a television perspective of that era. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you missed it, go to WWE.com. You can relive Monday Nitro. You can relive Thursday Thunder on TBS, and you can relive the Monday Night Wars all over again. It's all right there, WWE.com. Go to it. Check it out. It's great, by the way. I love it. I love the old stuff. All right, what do we got here? Come on now. Do you still talk to Lex Luger? How's he doing? Do you see or talk to him much? And also, thank you for the many great years of shows. Love them all. You should get back in as a wrestling manager. You know what? I mentioned the show that I'm going to be at on August 24th in Augusta, Georgia. I read this morning that because Van Vader, who was scheduled to be on the show, recently had heart surgery, Lex Luger is going to be on that show. And the last time I talked to Lex Luger was on my podcast about, I don't know when it was, about a year ago. And I may be reposting that podcast soon, so be watching for that information on Twitter and Facebook. All right, what do we got? Danny J. Pond, I know you're a very active follower. Let's see what you got. How long before you joined the NWO was that storyline planned? If I understand your question, Danny, I didn't initially plan on joining the NWO. And, the NWO idea was it was something that I had been thinking about in a very loose way for several months, probably almost a year before we launched it, and then certain things happened, just that no one ever could have predicted. I didn't know that Scott Hall was going to become available. I didn't know Kevin Nash was going to become available when I originally started very loosely developing the NWO idea. So when Scott and Kevin became available, and then the idea started to really take shape, and I could really start filling in the blanks and creating some detail to the story arc, which we're going to talk about more in the weeks to come, because I believe wrestling is all about story. It's all about action. You got to have great action, but you got to have great story. At least that's what I believe. We're going to talk about that. But anyway, when Scott and Kevin became available, and then the story arc started to take shape in my head, and the first act and the second act and the third act started evolving. It was really around the second act of that arc that I saw an opportunity to bring another sense of reality to the NWO and creating that kind of anarchy that really drove that storyline. And that's when I decided to join. So I would say it was probably 3 or 4 months probably into that storyline before the idea of adding something into that second act, the beginning of the second act, started making sense to me. Hope that didn't confuse you. Anyway, what was your favorite angle / story to work between WWE and WCW? That from Christopher Plymesser on Facebook. You know, I love the stuff that I did with Stone Cold Steve Austin. To me, that was one of my favorite storylines because it was built in. You know, there was years and years of the heat, if you will, between Steve and I because of the way that I fired him with FedEx. And that kind of grew into its own kind of cult storyline all on its own. And being able, and then Steve coming back to WWE because he had been gone for a while in a controversial kind of fashion. So there was just so many things that made that story so damn easy, but also it had a great story, right? It was built-in story. There was a lot of anticipation. What the hell was Steve Austin going to do when he got into the ring with Eric Bischoff after everything that Eric Bischoff did to him, right? So it had a lot of anticipation, and also because Steve had been gone for a long, long time. So it had 2 of the 5, to me, critical elements in any kind of a good storyline. The reality, again, supported the anticipation. They fit together very nicely. So we had story, we had anticipation, we had reality, because the heat between Steve and I was real. It was very real. It wasn't manufactured. It wasn't, a product of some writer sitting in a corner going, hey, I've got a good idea. Let's try this. This was real, genuine heat. This was real life. So we had story. We had anticipation. We had reality. And we had the surprise of Steve Austin showing up when I was out looking for him and all of that. So it had all 5 of the critical elements. And anytime you can check all 5 of those boxes, story, anticipation, reality, surprise, and action, bam! Bam! Home run. Home run. So that was one of my favorites. In terms of kind of a one-off type of thing, without a question, the Chuck and Billy wedding was my favorite thing in WWE. It really, really was. As far as WCW goes, honestly, getting powerbombed off the stage by Kevin Nash was probably the highlight of all the things that I did because I knew it was the type of thing. This wasn't a guess. This wasn't an intuition. This wasn't me hoping. This was me knowing that without question, that was going to be a moment that people would talk about. They would remember. It would create the kind of buzz I was trying to create with Nitro in WCW. So that was it. All right. I'm missing some questions. Okay, questions are back. I thought, oh man, I'm seeing a lot of hearts here, but I'm not seeing any questions. What do we got here? Okay, The Voice, 1976. I'm a commentator at a small wrestling show. How can I get more exposure for a bigger promotion? Post your stuff. If you've got access to the video, if you're taping it or streaming it, then I encourage you to post it on YouTube and get opinions of it from other people. It's the best way to get some exposure. Get your fans, friends, family to talk about it. Anything you can do. All right, we're jumping around here. Did I just hear somebody say 3 minutes? 3-minute warning. I love those guys. A lot of great memories. A lot of great memories. Do I think Moolah was a bad person? I'm going to be very candid with you here. It's going to piss a lot of people off. I don't know her. Never knew her. So I don't know. And since I don't know, and because I never knew her, I'm not going to comment. Because unlike a lot of people, I don't comment on things I don't know anything about. And I don't rely on hearsay or other people's opinions or other people's perspectives or as my good buddy Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson might say, rumor and innuendo. So, I'm bailing on that one. How's that? All right. Dave Hines from Facebook. Hey, Eric, have you ever heard of SWF Live Pro Wrestling? That's the company that I call home. Okay, I just lost you there. Sorry about that, buddy. No, I haven't, but I'll look for it because I love me some indie wrestling. Absolutely love indie wrestling. Reminds me of when I was younger and I first really fell in love with wrestling. Back in the very beginnings. Back to the basics. And I've talked about this before. My cousin Scott Bischoff, he lives in Detroit. He's very, very active in the NFL. He writes about it, does a podcast about it. He's a scout, works for some different people, really knows his football. But I was visiting my cousin Scott Bischoff in Detroit several weeks ago now, and we were talking about college football. And because he's so knowledgeable, I wanted to listen to what he had to say. And he explained to me why college football works so well. And he pointed out something, and I'm paraphrasing here. I could be wrong. I'm not quoting him. But he said something like 99 or 98% of the athletes that play college football will never make it to the NFL. That's how tough it is to go from college football to the NFL. But it doesn't matter to them because they love the game. They're playing because of the passion they have for it. And I believe as a television producer that passion communicates through the screen. So whether you're watching it on television or you're fortunate enough to be watching your favorite team at their college stadium, you can feel that. And that's what distinguishes college football from the NFL. Because in the NFL, it's a business. It's still fun to watch, but it's different, right? And I think the same is true for independent wrestling. Let's face it, WWE is so much fun to watch. It is the big show. It is the universe. It is the biggest stage on the planet. And it's cool. And I dig it, especially this time of year. But going to an indie show, because it's small and it's intimate, and those athletes they're working their hearts out because of the passion they have and the dreams that they share. And I dig that because you can feel that. So if you get a chance to go to an indie show in your neck of the woods, don't miss out. Check it out. Support your local independent wrestling promoter, and by all means, support local indie wrestlers. All right. Boom. What do we got? I need something good. Come on, Periscope. Haven't seen a Periscope one. What do I think? What are your thoughts on Aces and Eights from Alan Davis on Facebook? I thought it was one of the best storylines TNA ever saw. It was 1 year long. It had a beginning. Here we go. We're going to talk storyline. We're going to talk structure. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Anything that's worthwhile has a beginning, and a middle, and an end. Think about it. Movies have beginnings, middle, and ends. Television shows, same thing. A good book has a beginning and a middle and an end. A television commercial, for crying out loud, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So why wouldn't a great wrestling story have a beginning and a middle and an end? And one that actually makes sense. And that's one of the things I loved about Aces and Eights, because we had a great beginning and a middle and an end. And as Bully Ray pointed out a couple weeks ago on Twitter, that storyline generated some of the highest ticket sales TNA ever experienced, the highest buy rates they ever experienced in pay-per-view, as well as some of the highest ratings that they ever saw on Spike TV. So, yeah, I dug it. All right, I seem to have lost my Periscope audience. I haven't seen a Periscope question here in a long time. And I'm not going to bail on anybody here, but I've got to be able to let the winner know on Periscope that they got a DVD coming. Not sure what happened here. Let me check mine. If any of you are watching on Periscope, let me know if you've got me here. Let's see here. Says I'm live. Let's see here. I'm waving. It's loading up. There we go. There we go. Okay, I'm still live. I'm just not getting any questions. All right. Just want to make sure I'm still there. All right, Jason, Allen, Thunder, do you still stay in touch with Tony Schiavone or Mike today? I don't, actually. I'm really bad on the phone. I really, really am. But I think I will be seeing Tony soon. At least I hope so. Haven't talked to Mike today in a long time. Mike is kind of sequestered in Las Vegas. Not a bad place to be sequestered. I think he's still involved in the gambling business, if I'm not mistaken. All right, I think we're going to wrap this thing up. We've covered some ground here. It's about that time, 6:27. Been on the air for now just about an hour, a little over an hour. Want to let you know that in addition to my Australia show, it's coming up Tuesday nights, 6 p.m., Australian Eastern Standard Time. Got to get used to saying that. 3 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time here in the U.S. I think I'm going to be starting a daily show in addition to this Wednesday show. I'm working on a couple different formats, and as soon as I figure out a format that feels like it's fun for me, which then I think will be fun for you, I'm going to go ahead and make that announcement. So there's a lot of stuff going on here at Easy Does It on Periscope, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube. One more reminder, check out my buddy Coach Him Up over on Periscope. He's got some great stuff going on. Love the way he covered the Daniel Bryan return. I think you'll enjoy it too. Follow him on Periscope. And let's see, it's that time. Who's going to win it? The first winner is going to be Christine Salazar at Chris2Salazar. The second winner, this is a bonus one. I was only going to do this for one winner, but I'm going to do it for two, is going to be Andrew 1987. C Lefty 7787 on Twitter. So you two are going to win this bad boy right here. Anyway, for the rest of you, thanks for joining. Thank you very much for following me. If you're following me here on Twitter, please go over to Twitter. Follow me at eBischoff. Take the Periscope app and follow me on at Periscope. Keep those hearts coming. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I'm out for the night.